Is America still the world's leading superpower, or has the global chessboard shifted? Here we find ourselves at the crux of a complex question, one that invites us to examine the strategic decisions made during the Trump presidency. Let's cast our minds back to a time when the world was in a different state of flux. The era of Donald Trump's leadership was marked by a series of bold, unprecedented choices. Among these were the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord, the imposition of tariffs on China, and the refusal of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Each decision, a calculated move, intended to redefine America's position on the global stage. These actions were not without controversy. They sparked intense debates, both domestically and internationally. Yet they were a part of a broader strategy aimed at reshaping America's global standing, and potentially its future. So let's delve into the first of these pivotal decisions, the Paris Climate Accord. In June 2017, President Trump announced America's withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord, a decision that sent ripples across the globe, leaving many to wonder why. Let's dive into the reasons behind this bold move. At the heart of this decision was an economic rationale. The Paris Climate Accord, designed to combat global warming, required participating countries to reduce their carbon emissions significantly. While this is certainly a noble cause, the impact on American industries was a crucial concern for Trump. Imagine the coal industry, for instance. The Accord's strict regulations would have likely resulted in a shrinking of this sector, potentially leading to job losses and economic instability in regions heavily dependent on coal. Trump's decision to withdraw was, in part, a move to protect these industries and jobs. Now let's talk about the cost of compliance. Implementing the changes necessary to meet the Accord's emission targets would have required a substantial financial commitment. In fact, some estimates suggested that it could cost the US economy billions of dollars each year. By withdrawing, Trump argued that these funds could be better used elsewhere, perhaps to stimulate domestic growth or invest in American infrastructure. It's important to note that Trump's decision was not without controversy. Critics argued that the withdrawal signified a disregard for environmental concerns and global cooperation, yet others contended that it was a bold stance, prioritizing American economic interests and sovereignty. In a broader sense, the withdrawal from the Paris Accord symbolized a significant shift in America's approach to international agreements. Rather than following the global consensus, Trump demonstrated a willingness to make independent decisions based on what he perceived as America's best interests. This decision, whether you agree with it or not, was undeniably impactful. It set the stage for a new era of American international policy, one that would continue to surprise and challenge the world in the years to come. This decision marked a significant shift in America's approach to international agreements and set the stage for the next major move, the tariffs on China. Stay tuned as we delve into this next chapter in our journey through Trump's presidency. Trade wars are as old as commerce itself, but under President Trump, they took on a whole new dimension. In his quest to put America first, Trump took a bold step in imposing tariffs on China, a decision that sparked a lot of debate, both at home and across the globe. But what was the rationale behind this move? Simply put, it was to protect American businesses and jobs. Let's break this down a bit. Over the years, America's trade deficit with China had grown considerably. This essentially meant that the US was buying more from China than it was selling to them. Many argued that this was due to unfair trade practices by China, such as intellectual property theft and the manipulation of currency. In an attempt to level the playing field, Trump imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. Now let's talk about the impacts of this decision. In the short term, it certainly ruffled some feathers. There were retaliatory tariffs from China. Trade negotiations became tense and the global markets fluctuated, but it wasn't all doom and gloom. For some American industries, these tariffs were a lifeline. They provided a protective shield against cheaper Chinese imports, allowing them to stay competitive. And the long-term impacts? Well, they're still unfolding, but one thing is clear. The tariffs have forced a conversation about trade fairness and intellectual property rights. This could potentially lead to more balanced trade relationships in the future. However, it's important to note that these tariffs were not without their critics. Some argued that they increased costs for American businesses and consumers, while others felt they could lead to a global economic slowdown. But for Trump, the potential benefits outweighed these concerns. So there you have it. The China tariffs were not just about economics, they were about putting America first. They were about protecting American industries and jobs from unfair competition. The China tariffs were another step in President Trump's America First policy, a theme that continued with his stance on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Scene script. Trade partnerships can be a double-edged sword. Is it better to be in the game or on the sidelines? Now let's delve into another key decision made by Donald Trump, the refusal to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership, also known as TPP. The TPP was a proposed trade agreement between 12 countries that bordered the Pacific Ocean, aiming to strengthen economic ties between these nations, slash tariffs, and foster trade to boost growth. Sounds good, right? Then why did Trump refuse to join? You see, the devil is in the details. For starters, Trump believed that the TPP would be detrimental to American manufacturing. He argued that the agreement could lead to more jobs being outsourced to countries where labor costs are cheaper, thereby threatening American businesses and, by extension, American jobs. The last thing anyone wants is to lose their livelihood to someone halfway across the globe. Secondly, Trump held concerns about the potential for increased competition. The TPP would have opened up the American market to goods and services from the other member countries. This could result in a flood of cheaper goods that could potentially undercut American-made products. Furthermore, Trump was wary of the power that the TPP could give to multinational corporations. The agreement included provisions that would allow corporations to sue governments if they believed that their profits were being hindered by local laws. This could potentially force American businesses to compete not just with foreign businesses, but with foreign governments as well. By refusing to join the TPP, Trump was sending a clear message: America's interests come first. It was a bold move, one that further solidified his commitment to protecting American jobs and businesses from potential threats. So, what does all this mean for the deep state that Trump is so keen to dismantle? Well, by putting America first, Trump is basically saying that he won't let any outside influences control the fate of American businesses and jobs. It's a direct challenge to those who might wish to exert control over the American economy from the shadows. And that, folks, is a story for another time. The deep state, a term that has become synonymous with hidden government control. Can a single president dismantle it? This question has been at the heart of many political debates in recent years. It's a question that Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, took very seriously during his tenure. He expressed a clear intent to dismantle what he saw as the deep state, a hidden network of power that he believed was steering America away from its core values and interests. But what does this really mean for the American citizens and jobs? Well, Trump's vision was clear: more jobs for Americans, less control by faceless bureaucrats, and a return to the principles that made America great. His decisions, controversial as they may have been, were all driven by this vision. Take, for instance, his decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. This move, seen by many as a blow to global efforts against climate change, was framed by Trump as a stand against foreign control over American jobs and industry. By focusing his efforts on domestic job creation, Trump aimed to shift power away from international bodies and back into the hands of the American people. Then there were the tariffs on China, a major economic power. By imposing these tariffs, Trump aimed to protect American industries from foreign competition, further reinforcing his commitment to American jobs. And let's not forget his refusal to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a decision that once again was driven by his intent to protect American interests and jobs from being controlled by international agreements. In conclusion, President Trump's decisions have been controversial, yet they reflect a consistent aim to prioritize America and its citizens. Whether or not you agree with his methods, the intent behind his actions was clear: to dismantle the deep state and shift the focus back onto the American people and their interests. So, has America been saved, or has it been isolated? This is the question we've been exploring throughout this video. We've looked at key decisions such as the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord, the imposition of tariffs on China, and the refusal to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Each of these actions, under the leadership of Donald Trump, has been presented with the intent of saving America. The underlying theme being the prioritization of American jobs and the national economy. Simultaneously, we've discussed the concept of the deep state and how its dismantling is perceived as a necessary step towards reclaiming control and power for the American people. As we conclude, it's important to remember that these are complex issues with varied perspectives. We invite you to form your own opinion and engage in informed discussions. In the grand game of global politics, the moves may change, but the goal remains: to make one's nation great again. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.